Canada's leaders say the same thing over and over. The economy is strong, inflation is under control, we are outperforming the world. But the data says something very different, and Canadians feel that difference every single day. Food is expensive, housing is impossible, debt is exploding, healthcare is collapsing, and real living standards are falling. Today, we compare the government's message to the real economic indicators, not spin, not headlines, just numbers. This is Future PM of Canada. Let's begin. Politicians brag about GDP growth, but GDP growth is meaningless if it comes only from population growth. What matters is GDP per person, and here's the truth. Canada now has the worst GDP per capita growth in the entire G7. Since 2019, United States up 7.5%, United Kingdom up 3.5%, Japan up 2.9%, France up 2.3%, Germany up 0.7%, Italy up 0.1%, Canada down 3.3%. We are the only G7 country where people actually got poorer, not slower growth, negative growth. That is the clearest sign of national decline. Next, productivity, the single most important driver of long-term prosperity. And here is the data. Canada's productivity has dropped for 7 straight quarters, a historic decline. Since 2019, Canada's productivity down 7.6%, US productivity up 6.2%. This is one of the biggest productivity gaps in decades. And what does falling productivity mean? Lower wages, higher prices, slower innovation, declining competitiveness. A country cannot get richer if its productivity keeps falling. Canadians now have the highest household debt levels in the G7 by far. Debt-to-income ratio in Canada 180%, UK 145%, US 100%, Germany 93%. That means for every $1 Canadians earn, they owe $1.80. Most of the debt is tied to housing, and rising interest rates pushed many families to the edge. This is not the sign of a healthy, strong economy. It is the sign of a stressed, fragile one. Housing is where the crisis becomes undeniable. Home price to income ratios, Canada 11 times income, UK 8 times, US 5.5 times, Japan 4 times, Germany 7 times. Toronto and Vancouver are now among the least affordable cities on earth. More expensive than London, more expensive than Los Angeles, more expensive than New York. Canada needs 3.5 million homes by 2030. At the current rate, we will build only 1.2 million. A shortfall of 2.3 million homes. Housing is not a challenge, it is a structural failure. More than 300,000 Canadians experience homelessness each year. On any given night, 35,000 Canadians have no home. Chronic homelessness has grown 38% in just 4 years. And the cost to end chronic homelessness, $3 to $5 billion per year. That is less than what Canada spends on interest payments every single month. 2 million Canadians now use food banks every single month, the highest in Canadian history. 1 in 10 Canadians can't afford enough food, and 1/3 of food bank users are children. Food prices since 2020, meat up by 22%, bread up 27%, vegetables up 21%, baby formula by 27%, and dairy up by 18%. A family of 4 pays over $1,000 more per year for groceries than they did in 2019. And food insecurity now costs the healthcare system $7 billion per year. Canada's federal debt is now $1.23 trillion. But when you add provincial and municipal debt, Canada's total public debt is over $2.2 trillion. Here's the shocking part. This year, Canada will spend over $54 billion just on interest. That is more than national defense, child benefits, employment insurance, and even more than the federal health transfer. Interest payments are stealing the future 1 year at a time. 7 million Canadians do not have a family doctor. Year wait times are among the longest in the developed world. In terms of surgery wait times, hip replacement 12 to 24 months, pediatric surgeries delayed up to a year. These are not symptoms of strength, they are warnings. 1 in 50 Canadian children is autistic. Over 160,000 children and youth. Ontario alone has 60 to 70,000 children waiting for autism services. Private therapy costs $20,000 to $100,000 per year. A national autism support program would cost around $2 to $3 billion per year. Less than 1 month of interest payments. Yet nothing changes. Capital investment per worker, US $20,700. Australia $17,000. OECD average $15,000. Canada $11,100. Investment is the engine of tomorrow's economy, and our engine is stalling. Companies are investing less, money is leaving the country, and productivity keeps falling. Canada added 1.25 million people in a single year, the fastest population growth since 1957. But infrastructure didn't grow, housing didn't grow, healthcare didn't grow, transit didn't grow. Population grew 3.2%, but housing grew 0.5%, and healthcare capacity grew less than 0.1%. This gap pressures every system in the country, and Canadians feel it. Is the government lying? Here is the responsible, fact-based answer. The government isn't necessarily lying. They are selecting which numbers to tell. They highlight GDP growth, headline inflation, job creation, population growth. They avoid GDP per capita, household debt, productivity decline, food insecurity, housing affordability, healthcare wait times, interest payments, declining real living standards. The full truth is simple. Canada's economy is not strong. It is stressed, fragile, and declining. What a future Prime Minister must do. Number 1. Make GDP per capita the main economic indicator. Number 2. Launch a national productivity and innovation strategy. Number 3. Make affordability a national mission. Number 4. Match immigration to infrastructure and housing capacity. Number 5. Rebuild manufacturing and take competitiveness. Number 6. Fix housing supply with national coordination. Number 7. Redirect spending from foreign commitments towards domestic crisis. Number 8. Publish a national economic dashboard with real-time honest data. Canada can recover, but only if we speak truth fast. Canada can recover, but only if we speak truth first. Canada is not collapsing, but it is declining, and decline becomes permanent when we pretend it isn't happening. The data is clear, the trends are clear, and the consequences are already here. My name is Imran. This is Future PM of Canada. Let's rebuild our country with truth, with planning, and with leadership that puts Canadian first.